Thank you, everyone. Amazing. Round of applause. Incredible. And I know a lot of you are excited to go talk to all the Redstone folks, which you should and will. And I know you're all getting pretty hungry, but you're going to have to wait it out a little bit longer because we have to listen to our very sponsor for lunch, which is Newton. And you may not have heard of Newton before, but I know of a little secret you're about to learn from the CEO himself, Sean Lee. So I'm very excited to introduce up Sean. Here, a very special presentation from Newton.
Thank you, thank you. Well, great venue. I really like the lights. My name is Sean. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Magic Labs. So for the past 8 years, we focus on making decentralized applications indistinguishable from just regular Web 2 applications. We did that by solving and making it really easy to log into a crypto app with regular email, social login, SMS. Basically solving the authentication problem in the crypto space. And now, that sounds super simple. It's because nowadays, it has become a standard. But today I'm going to talk about the other half that the industry hasn't really solved. It's basically what your money is allowed to do after the user has been onboarded. Basically, the authorization layer. And this is going to be what I think the next big unlock for institutional adoption. Next slide. How do I, oh, thank you. Let me just give a little bit of a context and background. So on March 22nd this year, there's one compromised key that minted 80 million unbacked stablecoins. And this led to over $23 million that's extracted from DeFi and resulted in over 500 million in contagion. And basically, if you dive a layer deeper, the oracle was hard-coded at $1. So basically, the code was blind to whatever was happening in real time. Oh, thank you. And what the scary part is here is that there were monitors that were alerted. But the automated vaults, the bots, they kept allocating into the collapse for roughly 90 minutes, which resulted the loss of another $6 million. Because on paper, it showed a better APY, and the bots were just chasing the highest yield. So technically, if you look at this incident, nothing broke from a code perspective. And the system did exactly what it was told. And the problem is that smart contracts just simply couldn't run the kind of real-world checks that would have stopped an incident like this. And Resolve isn't really a one-off issue. So you probably see this on the news all the time. This DeFi protocol get hacked, that one get hacked. About 3.4 billion was stolen in 2025. And already this year, it hit 1 billion. And about 1.6 billion of the 2025 losses came from access control failures alone. And this goes beyond just the resolve patterns. And there is currently a solution for this. So the industry has made a choice about how to deal with this. But I do think it is a false choice. So today, capital allocators really get two options. They either choose to go for the Wild West, total freedom, interoperability, composability with DeFi on the public blockchain, but with a lot of exposure and risk. Or they pick the walled garden, right? It is much, much safer, but they're locked in, which fragments the liquidity and kills the network effect that made crypto valuable in the first place, losing its network effect completely. So what if you don't really have to choose? What if there's another way? And yeah, that way led us to Newton. So Newton is the authorization layer. So essentially, anyone can write a rule, or I like to call a policy, that uses real-world, real-time data that's the most recent to the market. And that rule gets enforced before a transaction actually settles across any blockchain. And once it is written, it can be reused just like any regular smart contracts. And we work with the most trusted data partners in this industry. For example, Redstone, Chain Analysis, Vault FLI, for example, to enforce policies that were never possible to do on chain before on the smart contract. You can detect DPEG detection, max drawdown, concentration limits, oracle divergence, sanctions screening, of course, and also KYC and KYB requirements. And it is compliance, risk, security, identity, all in the same policy engine. What makes this special? So here's what gives this the rigor, right, that institutions really need, is that no other policy engines can satisfy. I just was in a conversation yesterday, and I was talking about this with someone, and they called it a non-custodial policy engine. So I think that's a pretty cool phrasing I like to use here. So essentially, it is a decentralized network of operators that evaluates your policy before the transaction settles. So these operators would pull in whatever data they need, on-chain or off-chain. They can attest whether it passed or not. And the transaction only proceeds once a majority of the operators agree that that's the case. So since no operator has unilateral control, which is really, really important for that non-custodiality over the transaction, it stays what I like to call credibly neutral. And what I mean by that is there's three things. One is there's no hidden favorites, right? So the system operates exactly as advertised without secret exceptions or backdoors to any particular scenario. The rules are transparent, secondly, so anyone can see exactly how the decisions are being made through these policies. And the last one is predictability. So the rules apply equally to everyone, regardless of who you are. And really, it's the one layer for everything. So you can write any rule, power it with any data, and enforce it anywhere. Essentially, smart contracts give you the static controls, whitelists, fixed supply caps, circuit breakers, whereas Newton adds this condition-aware gates, I like to call. So every action is checked against live conditions. So your rule stops being a fixed rule, but is actually starting to react to the world in real time. So maybe just a little bit of a background. We've spent a decade building infrastructure that people trust. I started my startup journey at a company called Docker that creates container technology that secures critical software. And there I launched Docker Desktop, which is used by millions of developers per month. And I started Magic back in 2018, right? And we were the inventors of embedded wallet, which is like I mentioned before, making Web3 app login indistinguishable from Web2. And I think that's a standard today. We have onboarded over 57 million wallets to date, and some of our customers are companies like Polymarket, right, which is a truly breakout mainstream crypto application. And now Newton. So moving from authentication and wallets to authorization and vaults. As of today, it's no longer a roadmap. It is actually live. So we launched our mainnet beta. So you can check it out today at newton.xyz. And I like to say that the mainnet beta is really about the ecosystem here. So our launch partners include, I think, the trailblazers in this space. We're talking about Euler vaults, Redstone, chain analysis, WebSC, Vaults FYI, and more. We also make it really easy for anyone to any existing Vault curators to adopt with an SDK called VaultKit. So VaultKit brings investment mandates, security checks, and compliance policies to any Vault curators and make them verifiable by the allocator who's putting up capital. The SDK natively integrates with Euler and Morpho vaults by default. And by working with our launch partners, we're able to create just a bunch of policy packs that helps people get started. So you don't have to start from scratch and make it really easy. So yeah, I think when you look at the market, the strategy from vaults to vaults, not super different, but what really distinguishes top curators from the rest is trust. Yeah, and this is what really separates the billion-dollar curators from the rest. Since the PDF, I can't really show a live demo, but you can try it out at vaultkit.newton.xyz to basically see live how a policy can catch a bad allocation before it executes. I think that vaults are the first step, really. I think it's the right interface that makes DeFi possible for capital allocators. And I think it's going to eventually become the primary interface for people to engage with DeFi. Because no one's going to really try to figure out all the protocols and complexities that's going underneath. You just deposit money in a vault and you trust that it works and generates the APY. It does, and it follows the mandate that it promises. So, what's really makes me even more excited about it is that I think tokenized assets and vaults are really two peas in the same pod. I think vaults will be the medium of which tokenized assets will reach wider adoption. So if you are using tokenized assets, this is the part that really matters. So your rules can actually get enforced at the token level as well, on top of the vault level. So whenever your asset moves, it is verifiable. It is verifiable by anyone. You can implement a lot of cool things that you otherwise wouldn't be able to do on a smart contract, such as like mint and redeem guardrails, NAV integrity checks, transfer limits, and also anything that's related to the complex cross-national jurisdictional rules. By doing this, you get the public blockchain benefits, liquidity, composability, transparency, without giving up control, right, that your compliance team needs for this. And yeah, this is what I mean the third way. You can have your cake and eat it too. And the market for this actually moving pretty fast, even though the environment is pretty gloomy these days. So curated vaults are growing over 300% year over year. It is worth about 25 billion today and on track to be 64 billion by the end of the year. The growth was actually never the question. The question was really around safety, especially amidst all the hacks that's going on. And now with Newton, you can grow safely. Yeah, not walled in, not wide open, safe passage, and that is Newton. So you can find us at newton.xyz, that's our website, or follow us on X for the latest updates. It's Newton_XYZ. And if you're issuing tokenized assets or running a vault, definitely come to me. I will help you write a policy and help you integrate it into your stack. So yeah, all right. I think it's launch time for many of you, so I'll wrap up here, and I'll be at the launch, hanging out in person. So if you want to learn a bit more about Newton, I'm happy to chat. Thank you.